Hello, chosen ones. If this message has found you, let me say this clearly and gently from the beginning. What you have been noticing is real. You are not imagining it. You are not overthinking. And you are not being dramatic. Something has been changing. And the reason this message resonates is because it is answering a question you have been carrying quietly. One you may not have known how to articulate without sounding unsure or exposed. But God knows the questions we don't say out loud, and this moment is not accidental. You may have noticed it in passing. A glance in the bathroom mirror under unforgiving light. The sudden front-facing camera that caught you off guard. A reflection in a window or a car mirror when you were least prepared. And for a brief second, you paused, not because of vanity, not because of style, but because something felt different. Not better in a surface-level way. Different in a way that felt settled. Grounded. As if your face was revealing something your mouth hadn't yet explained. Almost like your face is telling the truth before your words ever could. This is not about appearance. This is about recognition. Because your face is not just skin and features, it is a reflection of what your spirit has been carrying. And when God begins to lift internal weight, when He begins to quiet the inner striving and restore safety to your soul, your countenance shifts with it. Long before circumstances fully change. Long before everything makes sense. The change shows up first in presence, in the eyes, in the softness that returns where tension used to live. What you are experiencing is not random, it is confirmation. God is responding to the silent prayers, the internal negotiations, the private moments where you wondered if peace would ever feel natural again. The reason this feels deeper than appearance is because it is deeper. This is not transformation through effort. This is restoration through alignment. So let this opening truth settle you. The change you see is evidence, not imagination. It is God answering you in a language your body understands. You were guided here for a reason, and as we continue, you will understand why this shift could not remain unnoticed, and why heaven is allowing you to see it now. And as we move deeper into this understanding, it becomes clear that what you are seeing on the outside is simply the echo of what has already shifted on the inside. The face has always been one of the most honest messengers of the human spirit. Long before words are spoken, long before explanations are formed, the face reveals what the soul has been holding. That is why no amount of pretending ever truly works. The body remembers. The eyes remember. The muscles of the face remember seasons of pressure, vigilance, and endurance. Your countenance is not random. It reflects the emotional and spiritual weight you carry day after day. When the spirit lives in survival mode, the face tightens without permission. The jaw braces, the brow furrows, the eyes scan, searching for what might go wrong next. Not because you are weak, but because you learned how to survive. And survival leaves fingerprints. Over time, that internal pressure becomes familiar, almost invisible to you, until something changes. Think of it like a glass sitting in a room. When the temperature inside the glass is colder than the air around it, fog forms naturally. No one forces it. No one tells it to appear. It's simply the result of two atmospheres colliding. The glass is still the same glass. The room is still the same room. But the difference in environment creates distortion. You can still see through it, but everything looks muted, softened, unclear. Then the temperature shifts, and without effort, without polishing, without performance, the fog clears. Same glass, same space, different atmosphere. That is what God has been doing within you. Not reshaping your identity, not turning you into someone else, but changing the atmosphere your spirit lives in, lifting the internal pressure of constant second-guessing, releasing the weight of unresolved fear, regret, and hypervigilance, allowing safety to return to places that had been on guard for too long. When that happens, the face doesn't try to change, it rests, and rest is visible. The clarity you're seeing is not cosmetic, It's spiritual. It's the reflection of a spirit that no longer feels the need to brace itself against every moment. God did not force this shift. He healed the atmosphere, and your face simply followed. And as that inner atmosphere begins to shift, the next layer reveals itself not just spiritually, but physically, through the quiet language of the nervous system. For a long time, there was a kind of pressure living just behind your eyes. Not a headache, not exhaustion exactly, but a constant internal tension created by chapters that never fully closed. Decisions replayed, conversations revisited, outcomes imagined over and over, as if vigilance itself could prevent pain from returning. That pressure didn't come from weakness. It came from responsibility, from caring deeply, from learning often the hard way that being unprepared once cost you something. So your mind stayed alert, your body followed, and slowly, your face learned to hold that alertness even when nothing was happening. A guarded expression became default. The eyes stayed watchful. The jaw stayed ready. Peace felt unfamiliar, even suspicious, because calm used to be the moment right before something went wrong. This is how chronic vigilance forms. The nervous system learns to distrust rest. Silence feels unsafe. Stillness feels like negligence. And so, even in prayer, even in moments that should have brought ease, part of you stayed braced, scanning for what might fall apart next. You could be smiling, functioning, showing up, but internally, there was a background hum that never quite shut off. Then, quietly, something loosened. Not because life suddenly became predictable, but because you stopped trying to predict everything. You stopped treating every decision like it had to be perfect to be protected. You began walking with God instead of racing ahead of Him. You allowed guidance to replace control. And that surrender didn't make you passive, it made you lighter. The moment you released the illusion that constant tension was keeping you safe, your nervous system received permission to stand down. Your breath dropped lower in your chest. Your jaw unclenched without effort. Your eyes softened because they were no longer carrying the responsibility of guarding the future. This is not imagination. This is regulation. This is your body learning that it is no longer alone. When trust returns to the spirit, the nervous system follows. And when the nervous system rests, the face finally reflects peace instead of preparation. And as that inner system finally receives the message that it is safe to stand down, the change becomes visible in ways you didn't plan and couldn't fake. Safety, when it is real, doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through the softening of what used to be tight. Your jaw loosens without you reminding it to. Your breathing drops deeper, fuller, no longer hovering in the upper chest like you're preparing for impact. Your shoulders stop carrying tomorrow's worries before they even arrive. For a long time, your body had been bracing as a default posture. Even in neutral moments, part of you stayed ready, as if life might suddenly demand defense. That readiness once kept you moving, surviving, adapting. But survival is loud in the body. It tightens muscles. It sharpens edges. It teaches the face to hold tension like armor. And when that armor is no longer needed, it doesn't fall away all at once, it melts. The eyes are always the first to tell the truth. They carry pressure, vigilance, the constant scanning for what might go wrong next. They ask silent questions without rest. Who is safe? What's coming? What am I missing? But when safety is restored at the soul level, the eyes change their assignment. They stop searching for threats and start receiving the moment. The gaze steadies. It becomes present instead of protective. This is where others begin to notice something they can't quite name. They may not know your story. They may not understand the battles you fought internally, but they feel the difference. They pause a little longer when they look at you. They sense a calm that doesn't feel fragile. A softness that isn't weakness, a presence that doesn't ask for permission. You're not trying to be peaceful. You're not performing healing. You're simply no longer living as if danger is imminent. And that shift is profound. When the body learns safety, expression follows naturally. Your face stops apologizing for existing. It stops negotiating with the world. It rests. That rest changes how people experience you. Some are drawn in because it feels rare. Others are unsettled because your calm exposes how tense they've been living. But none of this requires explanation. Safety, once restored, speaks through posture, through breath, through eyes that are finally allowed to be where they are. As the inner arguments with yourself dissolve, your face begins to operate on a new level, a level that no longer asks the world for permission to exist. You no longer carry yesterday's fear like a badge of honor or a hidden script dictating your interactions. The tension that once wrote itself into your jawline, your brow, and even the set of your shoulders begins to unwind. This is not about perfection. It's not about filters, edits, or curated appearances. It's about presence, pure, unforced, undeniable presence that radiates from a spirit finally allowed to rest in its own rhythm. When your face ceases to negotiate with the world, people notice. They sense it without words. Some pause, unsure of how to approach you. Others stare, trying to read the new energy that seems to anchor you, while the old version of you might have appeared more pliable, more malleable to their expectations. A subtle recalibration occurs in those around you, a quiet recognition that the dynamic has shifted. You are no longer performing to meet anyone else's standard, and that creates a ripple effect. The moment you stop arguing with yourself, you stop sending mixed signals. You stop explaining, justifying, or defending your calm. That clarity, quiet yet profound, becomes magnetic. Others may feel it as a challenge or as inspiration, but it is fundamentally a reflection of your alignment with truth. This is the power of a face that no longer pleads, apologizes, or anticipates. It is clean, not flawless, not rehearsed, not polished, to please but clean, like a window wiped of years of dust, finally allowing the light of your restored spirit to shine through. And as that light shines, it doesn't need permission, it simply exists, and in its existence, it changes the room, the atmosphere, and the energy of everyone who crosses your path. Presence without permission is not learned. It is earned by ceasing to negotiate with the weight you were never meant to carry. This is where true authority begins. The transformation you see in the mirror is not about looking better in the superficial sense. It is about looking like yourself again. The face you thought you had lost, the one softened by innocence, unburdened by constant vigilance, is returning, quietly and powerfully. This is not nostalgia for past circumstances or longing for times that were easier or less complicated. It is a reclamation of the essence that was always yours, hidden beneath the layers of stress, self-doubt, and defensive tension. Many of you have been staring at old photographs, remembering the lightness that once existed in your expression. You may have mistaken it for simpler times, but in truth, it was a reflection of the spirit moving freely, unencumbered by the constant internal debate that now feels familiar. God is restoring that softness not to erase what you have endured, but to allow you to carry your experiences without them distorting your face or your being. This is a peace that comes without naivety, without ignoring the lessons and scars of your journey. It is a refinement of your presence, a recalibration of your energy, a cleansing of the tension that previously dictated your expression. In essence, God is giving you back your face. He is returning the authenticity and freedom that were obscured by your attempts to control outcomes, to anticipate threats, and to guard your spirit. Your eyes, your jaw, your entire expression begin to realign with the truth of who you are, and not who circumstances or fear told you to be. What you see is not a manufactured change, it is the unveiling of a self that has been quietly waiting to be known again. This restoration signals a profound truth. The face you see today is a reflection of the spirit that has finally been allowed to rest, to trust, and to breathe. You are not becoming someone new, you are returning to the self that was always meant to emerge. The change you are experiencing is not meant to remain abstract or unnoticed. It calls for recognition, acknowledgement, and gentle participation. One of the simplest yet most profound ways to anchor this transformation is through a mirror exercise. Stand before your reflection not to critique, not to analyze, not to compare, but to simply witness. Allow yourself 10 seconds, perhaps more if your spirit calls for it, to look without judgment. In these moments, you are practicing a gentle agreement with yourself and with God, an acknowledgement that the work being done within you is real, valid, and worthy of recognition. As you observe your own face, see it as God sees you, whole, unburdened, and deeply loved. The eyes that may have carried tension and vigilance now begin to soften. The jaw that clenched in anticipation of impact releases, and the subtle traces of worry that lingered around the brow start to ease. This is not a superficial exercise, it is an invitation to embody the shift, to allow your body and expression to align with the spirit that has been quietly reclaiming its space. During this practice, you might whisper a simple prayer, such as, "Thank you for bringing me back to myself." Feel the weight of those words as a declaration of trust, a surrender to the process, and an acceptance of the restoration that is already underway. The subtle changes you notice in your reflection are not imagined. They are evidence of forward movement, proof that your spirit has begun to lead and that your body is catching up. Through this gentle, conscious recognition, the mirror becomes more than glass. It becomes a sacred space where your internal progress manifests externally. You are participating in your own awakening, one calm, steady breath at a time, allowing the evidence of change to settle naturally into your being. Your changing face is not the goal, it is the evidence of something far greater happening within. The transformation you are noticing is a reflection of your spirit, finally deciding that it is safe with God. It is not about perfection, about looking flawless, or about altering who you are. It is about the quiet, profound restoration that occurs when your inner world begins to settle. Your countenance shifts not because circumstances have magically improved overnight, but because your spirit has stopped begging the past for permission to move forward. Think of it as background noise that has been playing endlessly in your mind, replays of past fears, old anxieties, regrets, and what-ifs. For years, you may not have noticed it consciously, but it shaped how you carried yourself, how your muscles tensed, and how your expression held the weight of hypervigilance. Now, imagine someone finally turning off that song. The silence at first may feel strange, unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but it is healing. That quiet is the space where your nervous system learns safety, where your spirit can finally rest, and where your body no longer braces for the impact of life at every turn. Your face begins to mirror that internal change. The softened gaze, the relaxed jaw, the lifted yet calm eyes, they are the natural evidence of an inner peace arriving before circumstances fully resolve. It is a confirmation that God is working behind the scenes, shifting your internal atmosphere. This is a moment to honor, not by striving harder or questioning what you see, but by noticing it, feeling it, and allowing it to settle. Your transformation is unfolding quietly but undeniably. The change in your face is proof that your spirit has taken the lead, and your body, your outward expression, is simply catching up. Transformation, as profound as it feels, is fragile in its early stages. God is restoring the inside of you. And with that restoration comes a quiet invitation. Do not undo what He is building. This is not a command steeped in pressure or performance. It is a gentle call to awareness, to safeguard the new steadiness, taking root in your spirit, body, and mind. Old patterns are subtle and patient. They creep in like shadows. You barely notice the reflexive self-critique in the mirror, the habitual overthinking of a text message, or replaying a conversation for the 10th time while your mind remains tethered to old anxieties. These habits are not failures. They are signs that your system is adjusting, learning to integrate peace where previously there was tension. The key is not to battle them dramatically. You do not need grand gestures or forceful resistance. Instead, respond with quiet clarity. A single, simple sentence, "God, keep me in what you're restoring," is enough to anchor your nervous system, to remind your spirit and body of the safety and peace now available to you. This gentle return is not passive, it is a form of mastery. It trains your attention to notice when the old weight tries to resurface, and it allows you to recenter without judgment or struggle. Protecting restored peace is about consistent, small actions that reinforce the new internal state. It is the discipline of presence, the conscious alignment with God's work within you. Each time you honor this process, your face reflects it further. Softer eyes, relaxed jaw, a calm, confident expression. This is the outward proof that your inner world is no longer captive to the past, but guided by God's quiet, steady hand. Building on the foundation of protecting your restored peace, we invite you into a profound recalibration of perception, training your eyes to see healing rather than threat. For years, your gaze has been conditioned to scan for danger, to anticipate disruption, and to catch every subtle sign that might signal risk. This hypervigilance, while once necessary, has left traces: tight jaws, clenched teeth, shallow breathing, and eyes that rarely rested. Now, God is guiding you to a new way of seeing, one that recognizes restoration rather than perpetually expecting peril. Begin with the simple act of pausing at reflections. Whether it's a mirror, a phone camera, a car window, or a pane of glass, allow yourself to stop and observe, not to judge, not to critique, not to anticipate threat. This pause is a sacred practice. In that stillness, your eyes begin to notice subtle shifts, the softening of a brow, the clarity returning to your gaze, the unspoken steadiness in your posture. These are signs that your nervous system is learning safety. Each glance without judgment is a small act of retraining, a conscious acknowledgement that your body no longer needs to brace for impact. As your eyes adjust, steadiness begins to replace hypervigilance. Your spirit stands upright within your body, unburdened by the weight of old anticipatory tension. The subtle recalibration of your gaze signals to yourself and to others that you are anchored, present, and aligned. People may sense it even before they can articulate it. The way you hold your attention, the ease in your expression, the quiet confidence radiating from your being. This practice transforms ordinary perception into a spiritual exercise, allowing your inner restoration to manifest outwardly, reinforcing the truth that your healing is both real and visible. We build naturally on the internal work of retraining your eyes and nervous system, now shifting the focus to the social dimension, how others perceive your anchored presence. As your inner peace settles and your gaze carries steadiness, people around you cannot help but notice. Some are drawn to it, sensing the rarity of someone who is unshakable yet gentle. Others are confused because they remember the old version of you, easier to read, more reactive, and more predictable. And some may even feel exposed, because your calm presence highlights the chaos in their own inner world. Your peace doesn't need to be loud to be undeniable. In fact, it often makes panic and anxiety in others appear amplified, not because they are louder, but because your steadiness casts contrast that exposes the rest. Understanding these reactions removes the burden of defense. You no longer need to explain why you have changed or prove your transformation to anyone. Your soft, restored presence speaks for itself. This is a crucial pivot. Outward calm and inward power coexist without contradiction. You can be gentle and still hold firm boundaries. You can be approachable, yet unmovable. Your body, your gaze, your tone all reflect the integration of strength and serenity. The world may misinterpret quiet confidence as arrogance or intimidation, but this is a misreading born from unfamiliarity. Your responsibility is not to manage their perception, but to maintain your integrity. The combination of calmness with underlying power becomes a natural armor, a living testimony of the inner work God has done in you. Each interaction reinforces the lesson that softness does not equal vulnerability, and calmness is not passivity. It is a poised strength that others cannot replicate but can only witness, and that is enough. As we reach the conclusion of this journey, it is essential to anchor in the truth that your changing face is not the result of effort, striving, or external validation. It is the visible manifestation of a deeper trust that has taken root within your spirit. Every softened gaze, unclenched jaw, and steady breath reflects the quiet surrender you have practiced, the permission you have granted yourself to be present and at rest. This is not a superficial transformation, nor is it temporary. It is the beginning of a new rhythm, where your body begins to align with the spiritual reality that God has always known. You are safe, you are guided, and you are enough. This alignment is subtle but profound. It shows itself in moments of quiet reflection, in the way your expression no longer carries tension from old fears, and in how others respond to you with unspoken recognition. Your presence now radiates certainty, because it is rooted in internal truth rather than external approval. Maintaining this peace requires gentle attention, not overanalyzing, not controlling, but choosing consistently to return to what anchors you. One slow breath, one honest prayer, one conscious boundary. These small acts are the scaffolding for your ongoing restoration. Let this be your affirmation. Your transformation is God's signature on your healing. Every change in your face, every shift in your energy, is proof of His work within you. Do not doubt it, do not question it. Simply recognize it, honor it, and allow it to guide your interactions and your self-perception. And now, as this message reaches you, take the next step in your awakening. Like, share, subscribe, and continue exploring the journey of trust, restoration, and divine alignment. Your face is changing because your spirit has chosen to trust deeper, and that trust is now inseparable from the very essence of who you are.